Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Dual Agency Podcast. My name is Harrison Bocook. I am here with my dad,
Randy Bocook.
the world famous Randy Bocook. We are a father and son real estate team in coastal Georgia. Sold 500 homes last year, and we talked the journey of building a company to 500. And today we have a very special guest, somebody that you have been talking about for a long time. Mega producer, but it goes way deeper than that. Want everybody to welcome Jon Brooks with Momentum Realty. Jon, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, it's our pleasure, Jon. I'm going to tell you, I got a little bit of I'm stalking you on social and stuff, and you and Brittany. But your story's pretty interesting. Harrison, get us started a little bit.
Yeah, Jon, why don't you give a quick introduction for the audience? Kind of share your story on getting into real estate and starting Momentum.
For sure. So I'm originally from Virginia, and I relocated to Jacksonville, Florida in 2014. I went through my first real estate transaction and had a very poor experience, which caused me to decide I needed to get into this business. And at my W-2 job, I was limited. I was an investment banker. I was limited in how much money I could make. There was some legal activity that was happening overseas that caused a pay freeze despite my performance. So I really wanted a job where the amount of work that I put in and the results that I achieve will directly reflect the income that I make. And I thought real estate would be a perfect mix for that. So I jumped in. I had no money. I had no database. I was from Virginia, moving to Jacksonville, and very little resources. I joined a big box brokerage with very high splits, and I still got no resources from that company. And within my first year, I sold 66 homes for $12 million, $12.1 million. My second year, I got smarter and more strategic. I switched companies to KW at that time. I wanted to learn how to build a team. My current big box brokerage didn't even have a team agreement. So I had to get attorneys myself. And then, KW said, okay, yeah, we know how to build teams. We can give you a team agreement and show you what that's supposed to look like. I sold 74 homes that year, primarily by myself for $20.1 million. So I upped my price point. My third year, we were doing so well that I invited my wife, who is also an investment banker, into the business, and together we built a little team with a transaction coordinator and a bunch of showing agents, and we're able to close $36 million. At that point, that's when I got the call from KW saying, okay, you guys are doing something differently. Can you come speak about how you're growing so fast and so profitably? We were put on Mega Camp stage to talk about reviews, referral, and repeat business. That's something that we kind of made up, was the 3 R's. And we got to speak on that. That's what really blew us up. I then became a mastery coach, the youngest mastery coach, I think, in their history, for training agents around the country in how to build a profitable and sustainable business, which is what business is all about. It's about building profit. My second year, we had our baby in 2019, and we just took off with these showing agents. So we were serving a high number of clients, but we weren't doing the legwork, and we were paying showing agents $25 a door, sometimes up to $50 a door, still having the same exact level of service, if not better, because the clients could get in there, still super profitable. So they invited us back into Mega Camp in 2019 saying, how are you guys building your business so fast doing showing agents? Which isn't something new. It's just that we were actually doing it at a high level, and it was working very well. And we were still getting the number of reviews that, 80+% of our clients were giving us 5-star reviews and sending tons of referrals. So this all accumulated into, hey, we want to teach this to more and more people. And between the politics of the organization and what we were allowed to do and not allowed to do, and what we were allowed to say and not allowed to say, we said, you know what? Let's create our own thing and give away everything that we have learned over the last 4 to 5 years to agents who badly need it in the marketplace. And we did. And when we opened, we had Momentum in January 2020. We had about 40 agents with a line out the door who wanted to join us immediately because we had been teaching all the classes. They said, look, you guys know how to make money. You guys have a great lifestyle. I see you guys traveling. How do I do the same? How do I build a profitable business that is systematized and automated and is giving an incredible experience to consumer? And all of a sudden, by the end of that first year, we had enough agents coming in that they sold $200 million. Our second year in business, which just happened, now we're up to $500 million. in sales, and it's going to continue to move up as we take more market share.
I tell you, Jon, that story is phenomenal. We love it. It's inspirational. Do you think that your investment banking background, yours and Brittany, had a part to play in your savviness or your business acumen? What do you think about that?
I do. Number one, investment banking does two things. The first thing is that you have to have a very strong work ethic. You're working 14, 16-hour days on very complicated, in some situations, financial models with very, very intelligent people. So you always have to be on. You can't miss things. You can't make mistakes. That's super important in a real estate transaction. You're super focused. You're hyper communicative. Number two, understanding what variables actually matter versus which variables don't matter is what it is all about. You're always saying, okay, if I'm going to test this financial model, what are the variables that are going to put us out of business? What are the variables that are going to move the business forward? And so having that mindset going into real estate where you have to determine what am I going to do every day based on what's happening in the marketplace right now, and being able to adjust quickly to what the data is saying is everything in business. So it absolutely had the foundations for what we needed to succeed because we had the work ethic and we had this strategic approach to how do we grow and scale our business from the start. So absolutely, I think it had a huge help.
For sure.
Jon, that's one of the traits that we're seeing with a lot of top producers is at the end of the day, just proper numbers tracking. Where is your business coming from? What does your conversion look like from that business? And so then you can make all of the decisions based on that. If you don't have your numbers taken care of, then you're just flying by the seat of your pants, not knowing what the right decision should be.
Jon, Jon, I've been in the business a lot longer than both of you two, almost 25 years. I'm going to tell you that most real estate agents run their business by the seat of their pants, and they have no idea. Every week we get a KPI, key performance indicators that is given to me on Monday morning at 10 o'clock. It tells me everything I need to know, the vital signs of the business. And I'm sure you probably have something similar. How do you run your vitals and your KPIs?
It's updated 3 times a week. So we have people that go to the office, pick up the checks, deposit them. We look at them. We can project forward in some of the businesses that we have with the technology that we have. So we're looking at it almost every single day to see, okay, who needs to have a conversation, who needs help, what is changing in the marketplace, and what can we do now based on what we think is happening. I mean, the speed of how you adjust, like how fast you adjust is so critically important because things are changing faster than ever right now. And things work and then they stop working. And then the market dynamics are changing too. So if you're not tracking, how do you know what you're supposed to be doing on a daily basis? So it's the fundamental, and this is with all businesses. This is not just with real estate business. If you don't track it, you can't improve it. If you don't track it, you're going to go out of business. And that's why the number one thing that we do when agents come to us is we sit down with them and do a business plan. We say we need the last 5 years of every single thing that you closed, where it came from, the price point, the zip code, everything, before we can even have a coaching conversation. Because if I don't know where you've been, I can't help to figure out where you're going to go or what you're even good at. So that's where it all starts, is just data collection before giving a prescription.
Harrison, I brag on him. He's a finance major from the University of Georgia. He's a numbers guy as well. Jon, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of business. I know are you still in production now, you and Brittany?
I'm not. Brittany is in production through a group called the Brooks Group. We still do about 30 to 40 million off of referrals each year from when we started in 2016.
All right, and so I understand you have an interesting model. You charge your agents a flat fee, and it's a $250 transaction fee. Is that still the case, or has anything changed in that model?
Yeah, so that's for the brokerage. So for the real estate brokerage, we're 100% commission brokerage with 2 small fees, a $250 transaction fee. The most in our market, it's commonplace to pass that on to the consumer, but every agent can choose for themselves what they want. And then it's 0.002 times the sales price, which on a $200,000 house is $400. So if you actually do the math out, it's closer to a 90-10 if you eat all the costs yourself.
Right.
Awesome.
And you have no pun intended, you have a lot of momentum going with people joining you. How many agents do you have total in your entire company now?
We have 150 agents.
So how many do you have on your team, the Brooks group?
Just two.
Just two. Wow. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, just two. So we have our personal referrals that from all the service that we had done before. And so instead of me and Brittany servicing those clients directly, we pass them off to team members that really want to give that level of service.
That's good. Well, let me go into really quick, going back to the data tracking, because I think this could be really, really important. Jon, what are the crucial metrics that you're looking at with your company and your team? Numbers that you say, hey, I got to look at this a couple of times a week to know the direction that this company is going. What are those vital KPI numbers?
So from the real estate perspective, from the brokerage perspective, ultimately we're looking at how many conversations that we're having with people we want to be in business with. So we've got about 11,000 real estate agents, and based on the production level that we're looking to get into business with, which is usually about $4 million plus in volume, it's less than like 5% of the marketplace. It's not a lot of people. So when we did the math and did the calculations, there's about 400 agents in our marketplace in Northeast Florida that we would want to be in business with. Oh, wow. We've got about 150 of them that we're already in business with. Nice. So we're looking at how many people are contacting us, how many are we turning away, and then what are we going to do with those people to still try to help them? I mean, at the end of the day, our mission is to help other real estate agents become financially literate and financially independent. How do we help these people, even if they're not at our company, get at least to another company that's going to get them where they're going to go? So wherever people want to go, if it's with us or if it's somewhere else, if we're not the right fit, we still want to help them succeed in this business, because there is a tremendously high failure rate of, I think it's like 87% in 2 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, that's horrendous. And honestly, it's from a lack of standards for what it takes to get into the business and how cheap it is. And what people think this is versus what it actually is. So we want to help give them clarity on what reality is. And again, which variables matter. Like a lot of agents will ask, what's your CRM? Do I get a website? Do I get business cards? It's like, these are all the wrong questions. Yeah. The right questions are, who do I get to learn from? Am I learning from somebody that's making $250,000, or I'm learning from somebody that's getting paid $40,000 a year to teach a class and has never produced themselves, or is a failed agent? Now they're teaching class from a textbook that was written 20 years ago. So we make sure that they understand like where value actually comes from in this industry and which variables are really important, which ones aren't. Not just judging that they chose those variables, they don't actually know. And so we try to give them transparency and clarity on what will actually move the needle in their life. If this is something they really want to commit to. And so we get about 30 applications to Momentum per month, and we accept about 4 to 5 agents.
How about that? Jon, how old are you?
I'm 30.
30 years old. Wow. The other question I had is, what gave you the insight to realize the other box company you left recently, that there was a little bit of a story there that you wanted not to share, or you wanted to move forward on your own narrative? What gave you the courage to realize that, okay, I can take what I've learned here, which is what I did as well. We took what we learned from that big box company and expanded it in our personal business and started our own company. What gave you the courage at 28, 29 years old to realize, hey, listen, and you reached the pinnacle with that company. You were on stage. You really kind of was, and you were a MAPS coach. I understand it. Not just a MAPS coach, Harrison. You don't understand. He's a mastery coach, which is a whole nother level. That wasn't, talking about production. He's talking about people and top producers and businesses. What gave you the courage to pull the plug on that, going, I can do it better?
A lot. I mean, there's a lot behind that. If there's one thing that I would say, it's kind of hypocrisy of what is told to the general public and what is actually talked about behind closed doors, because I got to be in the war rooms. And so I'm somebody that when I get pissed off, I try to fix something. Yeah. So it really pissed me off when I started to learn behind the scenes that, the people on stage aren't bringing in as much profit. Like if you're if you're putting a book out there and the book says this is exactly what you're supposed to do, this is what your profit margin is supposed to be, but then you put somebody up on stage who's on like the brink of bankruptcy and nobody knows about this except this talked about behind closed doors, then you're literally putting someone up on stage that doesn't fit the financial model that you put out in your book that's supposed to be the fundamental book of real estate sales. So there was a disconnect, and when I was communicating that to leadership, they obviously they heard it, but are we really going to change anything? So is it really about how do I help these agents do the best that they can do and be the best that they can be? Or is it, how do I just recruit everybody I can possibly do by throwing up big vanity metric numbers of volume and units and not talk about profit? And so that's why they invited me back the second year to talk about profitability of a small real estate team, because I had a team of 2 to 3 people and we were more profitable than teams that had hundreds of people. And it's like, well, which one's better? Which one has, like, profit is one metric, but what about lifestyle? What about like the financial metrics of the actual team members? Are their lives getting better? And so from a business perspective and investment banking perspective, it's all about money. Like it's like great service, number one, that you have to have great service. There's no, but after that, the next variable is profitability and dollar per hour, and building a system that's going to be scalable and sustainable long term. These are things that were not being talked about. It's just, let's throw the person up on stage who is usually the person that simply buys the most online leads. And let's put them up on stage. And then so to me, it was hypocrisy. So I said, look, you don't have to do it that way. You don't have to just buy online leads and become number one. You can actually do the ground game and make a difference in the community you live in versus being transactional, and make a ton of money doing it that way too. And maybe we're not selling 1,000 homes, maybe we're only selling 150, but we're making the same amount of money and we're making more impact in our community because our relationships are deeper. So to me, we wanted to build our own platform that would be able to speak to that.
I love it.
John, that I'm going to let you take over, but I'm going to say one thing.
We get excited.
Well, and I'm going to cuss. I'm sorry, but he got to see through the bullshit of, in this business, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and there's a lot of people that people put on stage that are gurus and specialties, and they're not making any damn money. And someone like Jon and Brittany, they're making tons of money, but in reality, they're also making other people's lives better, and that's really what it's all about.
John, that is the main reason we're putting a podcast on, is to hear from people like you.
Yep.
Because one of the things that we teach everybody on our team, and our team is probably 30 agents now at this point, kind of give or take. We have sort of a graduating system where they can graduate from our team. But one of the things that we're very, very adamant on is there's 3 things about money. Number one, you got to learn how to make it. That's number one. That's the customer service. That's how you talk to leads. That's your conversion. That's all of the real estate stuff that most companies just stop right there. You teach them how to make money. The next thing we like to teach is the profitability. How do you keep money? How much of your money are you keeping? And then the last thing we hit heavily on is the investment piece. That third element is, how do you go out there and grow the money that you've made, that you've kept, and now you need to multiply it? Because eventually we got to get off this hamster wheel of real estate. So John, maybe talk now about your company profitability and maybe long-term sort of your investment play on where do you put your money once you keep it on a given basis?
Yeah, we invest in a ton of different private companies and private equity. We own a bunch of single family rental properties. We invest in the stock market. So we take a capital allocation that's pretty in line with what other wealthy people do, and we invest back into the businesses as well as much as possible. We also opened a title company. We have a mortgage branch as well. We have the real estate team. So we've got a lot of different businesses, and we're looking to acquire more businesses that we can add services for our real estate agents. But ultimately, when I started, I was dead broke. I actually wasn't broke. I was in debt. So it's worse than broke. I had $80,000 in debt between car loans. I just bought my first house. I'd quit my job. I mean, I had $2,000 in my bank account. And so the first thing is, you got to get rid of the debt. Got rid of the debt. Then I started saving every penny. I didn't increase my lifestyle. I mean, I still live on 10% of my income. And the rest of it is invested. And I don't think a lot of people are not willing to do what it's going to take to sacrifice that instant gratification of just going out and buying stuff. I mean, we didn't buy anything for like 3 or 4 years. We invested every single dollar. And all of a sudden we became net worth millionaires in 3 years. And
Hmm.
it wasn't on accident. It was because we were diligently tracking absolutely every dollar. We held it accountable. And now we're financially free and we can do whatever we want with our time. And we just want to help other people do exactly the same thing if they're willing to do it. And so you have to determine, we talked to so many agents, which agents are just saying it and which agents actually are going to take the action and change the direction of their financial life. And so we do a certain number of tests to be able to determine who that is, and then allow them to come into the company. What we've done recently is two things that we want to do. From, if you're a top producer and you want to simply just switch brokerages and you're a good cultural fit and we jive and everything, how do we get you to build your financials faster without doing anything differently? So number one, we give out phantom stock units in our company to our top producing real estate agents. So there are 25 agents in our company that got phantom stock. So when we have a liquidation event, they will get a multiple payout on that phantom stock unit. So you have to do $8 million plus in production to be able to get that. That is something that's really unique because we're private. The other companies that are out there have insane multiples that are not not able to sustain for that long period of time, and a lot of them aren't even profitable, and they're all just
Yes.
copycatting each other. So we said we don't want to do that. We're going to stay private. We're going to give private shares out to our people so that way they get the upside of the multiple before it goes public. So
Wow.
that's something that's really cool. Number two is we're launching a second group called the Ascend Group, which is going to be owned by those 25 top agents. And that's going to be where all of our new agents who don't qualify for Momentum can go into that group. And then they're going to be trained and led by the top agents at our current company. So we're creating an additional investment opportunity and a way for these agents to give back at the same time to the new agent population, which badly needs valid leaders to show them what to do in this market versus, again, just reading from a textbook and getting charged those high fees. So we're
John,
getting
that is,
creative on what's
go ahead.
that?
I was just going to say that's phenomenal, game changing, disruptive type of thinking there, which is incredible. We love it. How often do you get in front of your agents and teach classes to them?
I'm talking to my agents every day because I love them. So we have a class going on right now with a TEDx speaker. So it's not only just me who's teaching the classes. I bring in multimillionaires, people who have created 20, 30, 40, 50 million, $100 million worth of net worth. They get to come in and share their stories with our agents. And so our agents get access to speakers that they normally wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. So I'm networking with these folks and then bringing them in, and the stories that they share, if they get one good idea from that person, they can bring it over to the real estate industry. It can change their life.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing this happen more rapidly where people come in and they go from like a $4 million producer to a $20 million producer. That's like becoming the norm because of the
Hmm.
level of conversation is up here versus our prior brokerage, which was always down here. And if you wanted something a little bit higher, you had to pay an arm and a leg to get it. You don't have
Yeah.
to pay anything extra at our company. You get it. You get access by being here, and you're here because you have been selected from our criteria when you interview with us, and you match a growth culture and a productivity environment. And so we're super excited because it's a learning based growth environment with some of the most valid speakers that you would not get access to at other places.
Phenomenal.
I want to go into some of the ancillary services that you hit on, sort of as a part of you and your business. I know it's a little bit outside of Momentum Realty as a real estate company. So go into, Jon, you and your wife starting some of these ancillary services or maybe buying existing ones. Talk a little bit about that, the title, the mortgage, kind of what you guys do on how to grow another income stream.
Yeah, so our end goal is to bundle up all of the services into one package before doing like a liquidation event. So we're creating these extra businesses for the long-term benefit of those top
Hmm.
producers at our organization. That is
Yeah.
really our vision. How do we bundle it together and get these people access to this? Because they're, again, another thing that they're never going to get anywhere else. I remember
No.
when I was at my company, I got to the top and I said, "Can I get a piece of the brokerage? Can I get a piece of the title company? Can I
Heck
buy
no.
into these?" And the answer was, "No way, never." And so we're like, that is an opportunity, because if you're a top producer, you should have the ability to buy in to what you're putting all your life into. That's just my personal belief. So we are building that ecosystem within Momentum, so no one would ever have to leave, because the opportunities are abundant and getting bigger every day.
Jon, what kind of numbers does the mortgage company create for your bottom line per year and the title? If you feel like sharing that.
I will not share that out of respect for my team. But the numbers are good. I can tell you that the mortgage side is getting more competitive with what's happening with interest rates now above 5%. And I mean, it's just in the refi demand is kind of drying up. So there it is hyper competitive. Last year was a phenomenal year. I'll just tell you, we did over $1 million in revenue, just to give you a clue. The
Wow.
title company we launched in October, and we're already more than 30 deals a month from our agents alone. And we're just looking to get more staff so we can handle the demand. So each one of those has
Great.
unique issues with it. And I'm get so lucky every single day, because I get to learn at the age of 30 how these complicated industries work, how to hire and train and recruit and compensate people in all of these different positions, and how it all the pieces go together. And so it's just a great place to be at the intersection of the real estate transaction.
Jon, are you doing starting these ancillary services, or is it more of an acquisition type of business approach?
So the title company we did a JV for, and the mortgage company is a mortgage branch,
Okay,
which is like a mortgage in a box type of model.
Yeah.
that works.
Let me tell you one of the things we never hit on, which is awesome. And Jon, you didn't make a big deal about it, but you should have. You started your Momentum company in January of 2020. Something magical happened to the entire world in a negative way in March of 2020. I bet you and Brittany looked at each other and said, "Man, our timing couldn't be worse." What happened there?
Actually, the opposite happened. So we went full virtual, and now we're in 11 markets throughout Florida with agents. We're also a top 10 brokerage in Gainesville, Florida, with the agents that we have there. So we had to go virtual. It wasn't, by choice, and it actually ended up being phenomenally better for us. The other thing that happened is when it hit the fan, in March 2020 during the shutdown, agents started looking at their profit and loss because they saw sales were going down 30%. And we're a very, very affordable platform. Like, we are
Right.
extremely affordable relative to the value that we provide. So we had a mass influx of people being like, why am I paying 36%? Why am I paying 25, 30, 20%? I could go to this other company, get my margins higher, and it's better leadership, and they have better tools and systems, and it's cheaper. So it's like we make it such an attractive model that becomes a no-brainer if you're a top producer. So
Jon,
that's what happened, and it just continued to take off.
Jon, how often do you guys get together face to face with your group?
Um, it depends on which format. So we might do one training in person per month. If we want. I mean, we just brought a TEDx speaker in last month. He's written a couple books and everything like that. And so we do like little events like that in person. We do some trainings in person, but ultimately, if an agent has an issue, like, we're basically running Momentum like a gigantic team anyway. So they're calling us, they're sending us messages on Voxer. We're communicating every single day. We've got a very active Facebook page where our agents answer each other's questions nonstop. So there's no real need to meet in person other than the social aspect. So we do have social events quarterly where we do cool stuff. Like, we go paintballing together, we go axe throwing, things like that. We go bowling together.
Quarterly.
But when it comes down to business stuff, that stuff's going on daily. And our communication speed back with our agents is exactly what we would give them for our buyers and sellers, which is basically immediate. So I think when it comes to being in person, the agents don't really care. Maybe we go out to lunch because they have a specific business problem that they have, but they don't seem to care at all if it's mostly virtual, because the value is given anyway. So
Jon, let's go into that value a little bit for an agent watching this. Maybe we capture somebody in the Jacksonville market or outside of it that's hearing your story for the first time. Maybe give us an elevator pitch of what that value looks like at Momentum. Are you offering CRMs? Just kind of what all you go into.
yeah, I mean, all the CRM stuff and the business cards and the websites, I mean, you can get that anywhere for less than like $100 a month. So it's kind of like not the conversation that we have. It's more about like who you get to actually spend time with and who you get to talk with and who you get to hear from that will elevate your game faster than ever. Of course, we have all of the trainings. We have this website called Thinkific where all of our trainings are uploaded. You get to see me do my listing consult. You get to see me do my buyer consult. You get to see every single detail of everything I've ever done in the business, hundreds of hours of videos. The agents love that. So yes, you get the basics. You get follow-up boss. You get those kind of things that you need. But that's not where the real value is. The real value is in doing a business plan with somebody who knows what they're doing and sitting down and getting to know you. So when you come into Momentum, you do a Strength Finders assessment. And based on your Strength Finders, on your top 5 strengths, and based on the 21 different ways that you can lead generate, I've seen enough of these things where I can sit down with somebody and say, based on who you are, you do not need to just do the online lead game. I just want to put that out there like that. Like everyone wants to just start on online leads. Like that is not the right move for everybody. It's an option and it can be an open option, but it's not for everybody. So we say based on your strengths and based on what the lead generation opportunities are, here's what I would recommend you starting with. And that has been such an effective way to get people to figure out what's the right fit. And once they get the right fit, they just skyrocket. So, and then we do a business plan and we sit down for 20 minutes and go over the most important variables, their goals, et cetera, and we come up with an accountability plan. It's exactly what you would do as if you're paying for really expensive coaching, but you're getting it from a valid coach. So the other problem is like a lot of coaches are not valid. They're just they're professional coaches. They were never number one in the marketplace. So you're getting it from somebody who's actually done it, and is an expert at it in some sense. So that's number one is coming in, figuring out what your strengths are, figuring out what your business plan is, and then having a little layer of accountability on top of that, on top of all the other training resources and speakers in the organization. If it's a growth-minded person, they're just going to suck all that information up and their business is going to explode.
I love it. Well, and it's important to know that you're only partnering with producing agents. And so there's a qualification piece. So maybe go into sort of the attraction side of what you do, because we're in the team building business as well. So what is your efforts, or I guess maybe let's just start with criteria. If you're going to let an agent into Momentum, what do they need to hit before you give them a check mark? Come on, you're good to go. You get access to all of this training.
Yeah, they have to do more than 10 transactions in the last 12 months.
Okay.
And they have to do the Strength Finders assessment. So a lot of people will want to join. Like I had an $8 million producer reach out the other week and said, I want to join you. Well, he also told me in that call that he knows everything and he has nothing left to learn. And I said, okay. I'm like, that's awesome. That means you're not the right fit for our brokerage.
Yeah.
Because we're looking for people who want to continue growing. We have a certain type of personality that fits here, and the energy that we have at this company is infectious. They love what's going on because the quality of persons here, there's no massive egos that we have to manage. We've had really, really high-level agents who've wanted to join us. Their egos are just so high, we do not want to manage it. So we are very specific, and it just creates this really good growth learning environment that we have. So we're looking for production requirement and then also a personality or a growth-minded environment type of agent.
Jon, what about the marketing piece? How do you what is your funnel to get people to contact you about joining your brokerage?
That's a great question. It's been completely organic. We don't have metrics for growth. We're more mission-based. So we're not like other companies where you're like, I have to net 5 agents this month or else it's a bad month, et cetera, et cetera. We're looking for high-quality people. And those high-quality people don't come in, at the door every single day. So we get call-ins from referrals, people who've heard about us, people who've read reviews about us, social media. We don't do any sort of recruiting. We don't do phone calls. We don't do text messages. All we do is put out thought leadership pieces and talk to people that call us. Agents have joined our company just because we answer our phones. They're like, yeah, my current brokerage doesn't answer their phone when I have a problem. You guys answered the phone, and they're a top producer in fit culture, so they just come on over and they just skyrocket their business within a short period of time.
Jon, I'm curious about one thing. When you make a bad hire, how tough is it to let them go, and how quickly do you do it?
It's very quick because we've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So we say we don't babysit. We are not babysitters. We started Momentum for top producers to become super profitable and achieve financial literacy and independence. So if they're going to be somebody that's going to do anything unethical, illegal, that's outside of integrity, they're automatically gone. And so we let them know when they come in. We don't babysit. We don't deal with BS. We don't deal with the 11 o'clock phone call at night. Like those are things that we are not here for. We're here for business and wealth building. And if you want that broker that's going to answer the phone at midnight and you expect them to do that, this is not the place. And you shouldn't need that. You really shouldn't. If you do everything you need to do during the day and you're systemized, you don't need that kind of stuff. So we're very specific on who we choose. We're looking for resourceful human beings. Versus people that want to make me their resource for the rest of their life. That's not going to fit with us.
That's awesome, Jon. I'm curious on the time demand for you now that you've grown the brokerage to 150 agents. What does that look like in terms of, you said you don't get those late night calls, but what is the time demand on you, Jon? How do you manage a 150 agent brokerage?
I mean, again, these are these are not like the worst agents in the market that need a lot of hand holding. The agents reach out when they get stuck or they have a question or they need data on something. So I'm maybe working 2 hours a day in the brokerage.
Awesome.
My wife works about 20 hours a week in the brokerage because she also manages the operations and like the compliance side of it. And she's really the one answering the questions. We do have ways to communicate to get instant responses even after hours. Like we have a Voxer app in our Facebook page. That's where they're supposed to go. We understand that things happen after hours. You don't know. But like at the end of the day, we've automated a lot of the communications with what we call our tribe. And they understand what the rules of the game are coming in. We're very clear. We have an expectations document that they actually have to sign when coming on. So they have to have a level of communication with the customer. So if we get enough complaints about an agent not answering their phone or et cetera, we'll call them and say, if we get one more of these, you're automatically off-boarded. Like it's not even our choice. It's part of the expectations document.
Jon, let me ask you a question about the number of employees you have. I know you have virtual assistants. We have 5 virtual assistants that we use. We love them. We could not run our business without them for sure. We got contract to close. We just have a really good little group there. What's your staff makeup?
We have an assistant broker that's paid as an independent contractor. And then we have an assistant that runs by and picks up the checks and deposits them. And then we have someone in the Philippines, he's phenomenal, who inputs all that data and keeps it tracked and sends us the reports every single week. I mean, that's it. We have no employees. Everyone's an independent contractor. Everyone's paid for performance only. And that's the way that we like to run our business. The brokerage also has showing assistants built into it that you can pay them $25, $50 a door that are trained on how to show property. Huge value add for people who are trying to grow their business in the largest city by landmass. We've got agents strategically built all across that. You can just say, hey, I need a showing for this. I'm out of town. You got 5 agents who are willing to go do it. And we'll do a really good job because, again, these are great agents. So we really operate as like a gigantic team.
That's awesome.
And everybody's happy in getting it done because they get paid when they get the job done.
Right. Jon, I want to hit on, because it seems like that's a big part of your profitability. Maybe in the early journey when you were still heavily in production, was this idea of showing assistants. And it's so hard to have a showing assistant that maintains the level of service that you would feel comfortable with outsourcing. And then even for the client to feel comfortable having somebody show them property and then talk back to Jon when you go to negotiate the contract. So talk about sort of your structure there, not to reveal any secrets that you don't want to share, but how have you perfected, the showing assistant model?
Yeah, it's hard to do, Jon. I'm going to throw in there, Harrison, you know this. It's been tried by a lot of people, and it has failed on a high level, but by some really smart people. So, Jon, how did you pull it off, brother?
So for me, it's simple because we've been doing it. I mean, to be totally transparent on it, we had to do showing agents because my wife just had her baby and I had a slip disc in my back. So we were like, we have 30 closings and we can't show homes. How do we service these people? We can't leave the house. How do we do this? And we were like, well, let's hire a bunch of agents who aren't doing anything, who are just sitting around the office, and pay them $25 a door. So then we just did a training class and said, hey, we're going to do a Zoom call. Like who wants to learn about being a showing agent? You can get some extra, gas money, etc. And we just showed them on how to show homes. I mean, we even have videos. Like this is the difference that I think is really different about Momentum. We teach agents about houses, the roofs, the sidings, the HVAC, the lots, the locations. We show them what to look for. Our other companies never showed us anything about real estate.
Nope.
We also show our agents how to show a property. Do you walk in the door left to right to left? How do you communicate with them, with your clients outside the house? Do you lock the door before you go up to it? We teach them absolutely every small systematic detail that they should be communicating to have a successful experience for their customers. And it's what we've done to serve 66 clients in 1 year as a solo agent. That's a lot of service in 1 year. So how do you do that? You do it through systems. So with the showing agent, it's no different. We show them exactly what to do, when to do it, how to communicate. We also teach our agents buyer consultations. So in having exclusivity agreements and loyalty agreements, all of these factors, setting the expectation from the beginning, like, hey, we're going to get you into the home first. It might not be me, it might be another team member, but you want to get access to that house as soon as possible because the house is going fast. Then we have a communication way of communicating with the client ahead of the showing and then immediately after the showing to debrief with them and then to ask questions about what they thought about the house. And that kind of like feedback loop has made it super simple to where we've sold homes never even meeting customers.
Right.
And they're giving us 5-star reviews because the amount of value, just like with Momentum being virtual, the customer is getting just as much value being virtual as well because they really need the knowledge. I mean, the least amount of the worst thing you can do as an agent is showings. I mean, it's the lowest dollar per hour activity. You're basically an Uber driver opening a door. The true value comes in like negotiating, making sure that they know what is expected next in the process, making sure that they have the best mortgage and title company closing the deal, making sure that they have market data to make the appropriate decisions, opening the door. And a lot of agents will push back here being like, well, you're going to lose the relationship. No, the opposite actually happens. They respect you more as a business person because you are a systems-oriented human who's providing the actual information they need to make a decision. So what we say is we're a professional relationship when we're going through the transaction, and after the transaction, you're going to come to all of our client events. You're going to build the relationship where we're going to become friends. But during this transaction, we're going to make sure that you get exactly what you're asking from us. And that includes having the team behind you and the showing agents. And the showing agents don't have to be great. They have to show up on time. They have to they have to show the home. But all the research that you can do on a house is online now. Like you can pull permits online. You can look at the roof online. You can get an insurance quote before you go see the property. So these are things where if you provide all that information, they're getting so much value, they're not going to go anywhere else anyway.
Jon, this learning management system that you have, who built it? What's the name of it? And how long has it taken you to put all that together? And is it in video format or PDF or a combination of both?
It's everything. I mean, we we would write annual reports for our businesses every single year and write all of our lessons down. We have Excel spreadsheets of every piece of business, every dollar that we've earned down to the cent. And our agents get access to everything. They get our business plans, they get our annual reports, they get absolutely everything. And then they get videos on every single piece of content that we put out there, our commission option plan, any marketing materials that we have in Canva format. And it's through this company called Thinkific. It's just an online portal where you can watch and look at everything that we have. We also have a Google Drive with the same thing. And it's got hundreds of hours. Every training that we do is recorded and uploaded to these portals. And agents can go watch the replays because we're with the top agents. Like Momentum is with the top agents. They're always on the road. They might not be able to make a class. So then they can listen to it in the car after the recording is published. And that makes it really easy for them. So we might have low attendance at a meeting where we only have 30, 40 people, but then we can see 100 people watch the video afterwards.
That's awesome. Jon, I want to hit on for a second sort of the long-term play for you. What are you ultimately hoping to get out of the Momentum business? Maybe what do you want to see your agents achieve? You're analytical. You think a couple steps ahead. What is your long-term goal with this thing?
We want to help more people become financially independent. I mean, that's why we opened it. Me and Brittany are already financially independent. We don't have to be doing this. We're doing this because we see that there's a huge gap in the marketplace and we have the skill set to fill it. And so far it's really, really worked. And we'll continue to fill the gaps that we see in the marketplace and be a voice of what we think is going on in the market and what agents should do in their business. And people who are attracted to that message will come and join us, and we will do whatever we can to help them. That's it. So we don't have like a number. Like, yes, we want to have a liquidation event the next 5 years as we grow the organization, but it's more based on, can we get the highest quality humans at our company, and we're going to win the game. And that's really it.
I tell you one thing too, Jon Harrison, that you can tell that he's building a sellable asset. He's not running a mom and pop real estate company. He's building analyticals. He has annual reports. When Gary Keller approaches him in 5 years, now whether he sells it or not, that's not really what he's doing. But he's going to have an attractive asset that someone will want that's duplicatable. He's building a sellable asset. He's not. Most real estate companies are unsellable because it's the key figure that's making the rainmaker, who makes all the decisions and makes all the money. And if that key person is gone, Jon, I got a feeling that you can replace yourself now with the systems you have in place. And as much as that people would miss you, the business would still go on.
I'm already replaced. I'm just doing what I'm doing because I love it and I love helping these people succeed. So, I could hire all these other trainers and speakers to come in and kind of disappear if I wanted to. I'm still involved every single day because I love what I do and I want to be here. And when we say like we're going to have a saleable event, we're not going to sell the majority stake. We're selling a minority stake. We still want to be operating this entity and be servicing these clients until we don't want to anymore. And I don't see that happening anytime soon, because this really is a mission for us, helping these agents, because these agents are struggling so bad. A lot of the top producers are still struggling so bad with their financials. And if we can come in there and get extra eyes on it and help them make decisions that are really going to help them long term, it can change the whole trajectory of their life. And that's where the magic happens for us, is when we get that phone call and the agent says, I paid off all my debt. I have 3 investment properties. I don't need to take this client this week. I'm taking it because I love the person, not because I have to make money for my family. And to be the vehicle to do that is really rewarding for us because they followed our systems and models.
That's so strong.
Jon, that's it. I'm going to tell you. Go ahead, Harrison, what you got?
Yeah, take me back, and we might not put this in, but take me back to the early days when you decided to start Momentum. Was there a moment in time where you looked at the wife and said, I want to achieve this, whether it be financially, whether it be agents that you want to help? Like, what was the ultimate? I know the goal was to help people. Yeah. What were you going after when starting Momentum?
We're just frustrated that we couldn't teach what we wanted to teach, because me and my wife, we love sharing what we learn. We're both super high achievers, super high learner, personality profile, and strength finders. And we like sharing what we know with other people. And we're just like, how do we give it all away? We can either burn it down. We can burn all this down, take our chips off the table, walk away and go retire and live in the woods or whatever, and start a family. Or we can just open a company and give it away. And we were like, if we even get 4 agents to join us and we just change one of their lives, it would be a win for us. And with that, I feel like that would be service. And it just ended up being 10 times that. And then it's up to the agents and then we started to realize it's not up to us to change their lives. It's up to them to change their lives. So we started to figure out that's the case. And then it's about the quality of person coming in and whether they're a person of integrity, where what they say is what they're actually going to do. And then figuring out who's going to be the best use of our time that's actually going to go out and execute what we're sharing with them. And so it's evolved over time. But in the beginning, we had no expectations other than we just want to help people. Now we're like, how many people can we help? Like there's a lot of people that need what we have. And how do we get to those people in a way that's non-invasive, like these other companies that just I get phone calls from almost every single day. We've also been offered to be purchased twice by 2 other big box brands. And it was just disingenuous. It was all about, how do I charge more fees to the agents, not how do I help my agents become more financially successful. And from us, we have not upped our fees at all. even though we've increased the value tremendously since when we started, and we don't plan to. So we're going to stick to our mission of just helping as many agents as we can with this.
I got one more question, Harrison. Then we'll let him go. We've taken too much of his time. How often do you and Brittany get together and discuss your goals and your vision and where you guys want to go? How often does that conversation happen?
We have an advisory board that we report to monthly that are brilliant advisors that help us with our business. Then we have a personal meeting once a month carved out for 2 hours that goes over all of our financials, and the financials allow us to do what we want to do, all of our trips that we have coming up, all of what has been frustrating in the last month that needs to be outsourced to somebody else. Do we need to hire a nanny? Do we need to hire another babysitter? Do we need to hire someone to make food for us? Whatever it might be. We go through and basically diagnose our entire life system and figure out where our weak points are and make them stronger. And sometimes it's not by us. Sometimes it's by somebody else bringing in some leverage to kind of relieve those pains. And so we have like a really good lifestyle because all of our pain points are solved within a 1 month, 30 day period every single month. And it just gets really fun at that point. And then you realize, okay, this is a system that can also be automated. So we also try to help our agents with their lifestyle pain points. You know, when a wife is the real estate agent, she's out there crushing it, and her husband works from home, they've got 2 kids, but they want to homeschool. How do you solve that problem? And so we go through exercises with our agents to help solve their lifestyle problems as well, which is unique, and it continues to evolve. But it's becoming more of just not like just how do you win in financials, but how do you do life in a big way where you're going to really take off and enjoy it more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think you guys are kind of creating a movement, and I think it's the Momentum name obviously makes a lot of sense for ultimately what you guys are doing. It's so inspiring to hear the story. We could literally probably talk to him for hours and hours. It's so refreshing being able to pick somebody's brain that is on the business level that you are. And what you've built up to this point in a very, very short period of time is very admirable. We're going to dissect this conversation
forever,
forever, and hear from you, Jon. I think we're going to have you on again as a separate episode because we want to keep this thing under an hour if we can. But we appreciate you being on. And any parting words that you want to share with the audience, or how to get in touch with you, or whatever you want to close off on.
Yeah, I'll leave you with this for the agents listening. Whatever your goal is to get from point A to point B, the number one mistake that most entrepreneurs make is that they grossly underestimate how much work, time, and energy it's going to take to achieve it. And to acknowledge that up front as you go on your endeavor and have that do whatever it takes attitude will make all the world of difference. You got to get your mindset right from the beginning for you to succeed in this industry. And we can help you do that. We've got a ton of books and a lot of information for you. But you can get in touch with me. I mean, I can give out my cell phone number. It's 904-570-1216. Text me. And then I'll find a time to connect with you. You can also email me at Jon, Jon, at movewithmomentum.com. And yeah, I mean, we're available. This is what we do all day. We just want to see you win at life and succeed and be part of your journey if that's something that you're interested in.
That's so good, Jon.
Jon, it was so good. Listen, I cannot wait to see how far you go, my brother, especially at 30 years old. I am inspired by you. You're going to get a lot more people to follow you and go on the journey with you. You have a different mindset. I appreciate that. I bet you any amount of money, Brittany's just as powerful and just as good, if I had to guess.
She's the better half for sure.
Well, listen, we appreciate you, Jon. Harrison, anything else in closing?
No, we'll finish it out. We appreciate you guys listening. We'll put a way to contact Jon in the description of this video.
Yep.
And as always, we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.